Planning an engagement is challenging for any dude, business partners and life partners, and lives together. You don't check my location that much, but I'm like, if you happen to look.
I do check his location a lot.
A lot of lying and gaslighting was required to make this happen. I'll never forget the date. So I get out of the elevator, and all I hear the second the doors open is, he just got shot. He just got shot. If there's an active shooter, I don't give a fuck.
What if there was an active shooter in that room?
I would have got smoked.
Going to Colombia, we got a lot closer. We figured out how to make it work. We figured out how to deal with really stressful situations together. And when we're not even living the life that like fulfills us and like excites us, things are just not flowing the way that they naturally flow.
Welcome back to the Seeking Leverage podcast. It is felt like we've lived 5 different lives since the last episode. So this is an overdue update. We have went from the other side of Chicago to Colombia to about to be Mexico and Argentina, back to outside of Chicago, and now back into the heart of Chicago in our brand new place, as you guys can see. So much has happened. How you feeling, Michelle?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling excited. I've missed doing these podcasts. I feel like it was our time to just like kind of literally not be on our phones at all, not be thinking about that, just be super present to our conversation. And I'm just excited. I have my energy drink somewhere over here, so I'm ready to go.
Yeah. You guys are also going to hear just like some insights that we learned. We invested 36 grand into a mastermind with Ravi Abuvala. It's called Scaling Initiative. And it has been monumental for us. And not to mention, we got a VIP day, which is like a one-on-one day with the dude who runs it, Ravi. And we just had that. We flew to Miami, went there. We had a wild week. But we learned so much. And a lot of what we're going to be doing also is sharing some of the things that we learned from Ravi here. So you guys can save $36K by watching the Seeking Leverage podcast.
Yes. So let's get into it. We're going to start with, I would say, where we left off. I'm going to kick it off. If you have not watched the last few episodes and are just like, oh, you're back on my feed, like what's going on? The update from the summer is, number one, we're engaged. So here's the ring. Woo! We got engaged. Yes. I was feeling very stressed out, I think, the last 3 months leading up to July, because I knew that it was going to happen before the end of the summer. And I just didn't know when. My friends weren't saying anything anymore. Nobody was saying anything. Everybody was gaslighting me. Like, I was just...
Me, specifically.
He was gaslighting me. And so I was just like really anxious, and I don't know how obvious it was in the actual podcast episodes, but I'm like waiting for it. It finally happened. It was amazing. And funny enough, our literal view from our apartment now is the view that was in the background when you proposed to me, which is honestly means so much more to me than like the previous view that we had at the other apartment. But I'd love for you to literally just share, like, what was the thing that happened? How'd you plan it? And then we'll kind of start there.
Yeah. Planning an engagement is challenging for any dude. Planning an engagement for a dude who works with their or girlfriend at the time, and lives together makes it equally as challenging.
And we're both at home all the time.
We work from home.
We work from home.
Because we are business partners and life partners, like, we share our calendars, because I'm like, I don't want to call Michelle or interrupt Michelle if she's doing something. So we have shared calendars. We have shared locations, just because like we want to be able to make sure everyone's okay. So totally cool. But when you're trying to sneak away to buy an engagement ring and plan a venue to do the engagement at, and everything else that goes into an engagement, it makes it extremely challenging. So a lot of lying and gaslighting was required to make this happen. So for starters, I wanted to do it so much earlier, not so much earlier, months before, but it's so overwhelming. I'm like, there's so much that goes into it, and I wanted it to be perfect, and I think I did a pretty good job. But I was like, the best thing that I could do was I put all the sisters, I put all the friends in a group chat, and I'm like, listen, step 1, get the parents' approval. Step 2, get a ring. Step 3, get the venue. Step 4, pick a date, or, whatever. So step 1 was getting the parents involved. Luckily, your older sister, Liz, helped me out a ton there, because I don't normally just get lunch with your parents without you.
Yeah.
So
that was actually, I was literally not even in proximity of me thinking that's what you were doing.
Yeah. So she was doing soccer on Sundays.
Were you, really fast, were you happy that I started soccer?
It worked so well. it was my only like 2 hours that I had to where you weren't on your phone to check my location or different things like that, or check my calendar or whatever. You're just like present playing soccer.
Yeah.
And I would go and watch a lot of your games, but the one time where I'm like, this is my chance to speak with her parents, but I don't want to just like do it on the sideline of a soccer game. Be like, by the way, I want to marry your daughter. I'm like, that's not the best setting for that. So I asked them I asked their older sister to kind of coordinate like a lunch with all of us during that time. But I got her older sister Liz to basically coordinate a lunch with her parents. And I was so damn nervous. It was funny because her mom knew what was up. She's like, I know something's going on here. Your dad was clueless. He's like, I thought Garrett just wanted to have a few beers before the soccer game. Like, what do you mean something's going on? And I broke the news to them. I was just like, listen, like in a nutshell, like marriage is something that is like absolutely forever for me. Like divorce does not exist. Like my parents are divorced. You guys are divorced.
Aren't
Not divorced. And this is something that's extremely serious. You know, we've been together for a couple years now. Like, I know this is what I want to do. I respect you guys. Like, I want our families to merge. Like, I love you guys. And, like, I want to marry Michelle. So, and your mom, like, halfway through that, jumped up and started crying and, like, gave me a huge hug.
God.
And your dad's just, like, drinking a Modelo. He's like, Garrett? He's like, it's very good. He's like, that's good.
That was his answer.
I was like, can approve. I was like, all right, awesome, cool.
Oh my God.
And then we just got lunch. I said I was golfing with my friend Brady, and I was like, Brady, do not post anything on your story. We are golfing right now, allegedly. And it was like, there's a golf course right next to the soccer field, so I'm like, we'll just say we're golfing there, okay? And then I made it to your soccer game, and I feel like your mom was just so happy after the soccer game and doing all types of crazy shit. And you were like, my mom is just real happy today. I don't know why. Doing so much.
Yeah, I remember we were like leaving the soccer game and my mom and dad are in the car. They were like driving past us and they just start beeping and saying hi. And I'm like, what is up with them?
I was just like, I don't know what's going on.
Also, like, funny enough, I literally just was like, I had no idea at all. And like my soccer games were super important to me.
Yeah.
Every single Sunday for, I think we were coming down to like the last few games. And so Garrett was always there. And so like the day before, like 2 days before, like a week before, we had gone golfing with Brady and Michaela. And I don't know, you guys were basically talking about golfing again soon. And so when you said, I'm going to be golfing on Sunday morning and it actually falls during the same time as your soccer game, I was kind of like, bruh. I actually got upset at Garrett and I was like, just so you know, like I really wanted you to be there. And so he felt bad, but now in the grand scheme of things, like seeing the video back, it was so cute. And definitely was a really good opportunity for you to like ask them without me being like, where are you going? What are you doing? Checking your location.
Yeah, it was my only chance. So the next part was like getting the ring. So luckily I go to WeWork a lot in the city. Like we just like kind of having WeWork is just like, it's almost like Airbnb, but it's for office space. So you just pay like $300 a month and then there's like 5 different WeWorks in the city. So it's different buildings all around here. And then you can just rent out space and work there. So I would do that a lot, whether I was filming or just working and I didn't want to be at home, just mix it up. I would go into the city a lot. So it wasn't abnormal for me to be like, hey, I'm going to go into the city and there's multiple locations. So you don't check my location that much, but I'm like, if you happen to look.
I do check his location a lot.
If you happen to look and I was in a different place, you'd be like, maybe he's at a different WeWork. And then I had a lot of pictures from you of like rings that you liked and didn't like. But I brought Carla along to help me as well because I'm like, I'm a dude. Like I need some help when it comes to picking out rings. And we checked. This is so crazy. So we go to the first place and basically we went to the first place and they had really good like bands. So like if you guys don't know how ring shopping works, you have to buy the band and then you have to buy the rock. And then like they like spend a couple days like connecting the two. I loved the band from the first place. In the second place, I loved like the rock, but I hated all the bands.
What did the bands look like? At the first place and the second place.
The band of the first place look exactly like that.
Okay.
And I was like, I want that one. I don't want any other one. Like that's
Because I was telling Garrett I really wanted a band that had like diamonds on the side of it as well. So there's like a big diamond, and then there's like
yeah.
a bunch of little diamonds as well.
Yeah, and the band is like you wanted it to be thinner. You didn't want like a really fat band.
But what did you said the second place had really ugly bands. What did the bands look like that you felt like wouldn't be my style?
I don't even know. Like you see the diamonds just like fit well on that band.
Yeah.
There they were like really spaced out, and then there was like black lines between each one, and it just looked really bad.
Oh, okay. Did you tell them that?
Yeah. I let them know.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is what I want. And then the problem with the second place was they're like, we can get that band, but it's gonna take like a month because we don't do everything in house like in this one like ring place. We like send it to some other country to connect the rock and connect the band, and I'm like,
Okay, also how far in advance were you looking? Like that time frame is important here. Like you proposed on July 13th. When was this that you were like looking and you were like kind of freaking out about like if they'd have the ring available?
I think it's like mid to late May. So
Okay.
like 6 weeks
Okay.
or so prior, which I thought like they're just there and then you buy them. And the first
Yeah.
place was like, oh, it'll be 2 months.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Probably shitting
no,
yourself.
No, it's not going to be 2 months. I'm
No,
like,
it's not gonna be too much.
yeah, literally. I was freaking the fuck out. I'm like, is this how rings work? Because if so, this is not good.
Yeah.
Went to the second place, again, like really good rocks, but really ugly bands. And then we had an appointment for a third place, and we're like, hopefully this is the one. And we walk out of the second place, and we see a little like ring sign, like I'm talking like 2 doors over. And I was like, I know we have an appointment, but like, let's check out this place. Like, I don't know why they have like a nice looking sign. I just think this might be
And
it.
you were also in Gold Coast too, so it is already a nice neighborhood.
Yeah. I mean, there's like fucking Gucci stores and like all types of like designer stores and stuff around. So it was in a good neighborhood. And I was like, I don't know. I just have a good feeling about this place. I walk in there and I like lightly mention the type of ring that I want. He's like, oh, like this one? And it's that. Like it was the very first ring that he showed me. And then all it came down to was like the carat size of the diamond. He's like, here's a 2, a 2.5, a 3, a 3.5. And he showed me all of them. And I got 3 carat. I got a 3 carat diamond ring. It's chunky. I was going to get the 3.5, but he's like, the amount of girls that get a 3.5 because they say they want a really big ring, but then it will like get caught on their coat when they take it off. Or like whatever, or sometimes the diamond is actually so heavy compared to how small the band is that like they literally break sometimes. And I'm like, ooh, I'm like, I want a big rock, but I don't want it to break because it's not exactly the cheapest thing you ever buy. So I'm like, I think 3 is perfect, and I feel like it's perfect.
Yeah,
So.
it looks so good. Thank you. That was such a great story of you asking my parents and then you finding the ring. There's so many more parts to this. I guess we'll finish it off with the day of the wedding. You coordinated everyone. And then I have my own side of the story to tell that was pretty stressful too, but you go first.
Yeah, we can skip a couple steps. So the day of.
Wait. Actually, let's pause here and I'll give my perspective on those 2 pieces that you said. I already said what I thought about like the actual when you asked my parents, had no idea. And now as far as him ring shopping, he was at WeWork a decent amount, really just because at the time we were already starting to work together. And so we needed like to be able to focus. And so it takes that time. And I kind of had like an intuition feeling that like something was starting to happen because my friends stopped asking me, you stopped talking about it. Everyone just like went silent. But at the same time, I would check your location. Like a lot, sometimes randomly, you know. And you were at WeWork. Most of the time you were just at WeWork working. So I was thinking like, when is he going to have the time to ask my parents? Is he going to get their blessing? Did he forget about that? Is he already ring shopping? Does he think that he's going to do it last minute? Like I had all these like thoughts in my head and I
remember you being like, babe, you know, you have to like ask my dad, right? And I'm like, rings already in hand. I already had that conversation. I got the venue picked out. I'm like, oh yeah. I'll when the time comes, I'll make sure I do that.
I was being gaslit, but I was stressed out. I was just like, I want everything to go perfect, and perfect is just like find the ring, ask my parents for their blessing, you know, make sure my family's there. But yeah, okay, you can continue. I was just stressed out during this time. That's it.
Yeah, so the day of, holy shit, I'll never forget the date and it'll make sense in a second. So, long story short, the plan was my friend Carson was in town. He runs like a drone business, so he's really good with like drone cameras and regular cameras and all types of stuff. So I'm like, thank God I'll have him do it. So I had him come to pick me up because he's gonna drive me to the venue, and then from there we were gonna get everything set up. Simultaneously, her friends Carla and Karina were pulling up to help her go to a all-white tea party, which is wild. The fact that worked, you were so suspicious because of that. You're like, an all-white tea, not just a tea party, an all-white tea party. Like, as we have a pending engagement, that's definitely coming up. Yeah, Carla and Karina helped me so much throughout the whole process too. So like, shout out Carla and Karina. They pulled up as Carson was pulling up, and the tough thing here was Michelle and I lived together. So I had to leave the apartment with a suit, shoes, camera, the ring, and a couple other things. The camera. But we lived together. If I walked out in a whole suit, she would be like, "You're going to the cigar lounge in a whole suit the day of an all white." Like, this shit is not adding. Like, it's adding up.
Yeah.
So I put it all in the closet, like right next to our door. We have like a long hallway, so she wouldn't see me do it. So I'm in like a t-shirt and like casual ass shorts, and she's like, she knows what's going on, like a little bit. She's like, there's a 40% chance this happens today.
Yeah, because I was asking him, I'm like, is it happening? Is it not happening? Is it happening?
FBI questioning going on.
Oh, yeah. And then I literally like started having a meltdown, and then he kind of started to like fluster like a week before, and I just had to have a conversation with myself where I was like, stop asking. You're going to ruin this for everybody. Shut up.
The day of, I was locked in. Week before, falling apart.
Caught him in the bathroom texting. I'm like, who are you texting right now? Why are you hiding in the bathroom texting?
Oh my God.
Planning a wedding.
Yeah. So, day of, you start doing your makeup, and I'm like, she ain't getting up in the middle of her makeup. She is like halfway done. She's not gonna get up.
I think you even put my phone, because it's like literally like a sticky phone.
Oh yeah.
Hold on, hold this.
Oh yeah. This was also on purpose.
My phone has like the sticky thing on it. I don't know who it was, if it was you or Carla, but someone like put my phone on like my bathroom window. Oh, I think you were like, oh, you better film it. Like, make a get ready with me. Like, you always make get ready with me's. So I had to do it in the bathroom, and I had to stick my phone to the mirror so that I could do my get ready with me video.
Yep.
So I literally couldn't use it because I was filming myself doing my makeup the whole time.
Yep.
So
Calculated. So here you go. So yeah, long story short, she's in the middle of doing her makeup. So I was like, hey, gotta go by. I'm gonna go get cigars with Carson. And you're like, wearing that? I'm like, yeah, it's a cigar lounge.
what were
like,
you wearing?
like literally a t-shirt and shorts. It was the most casual shit ever. And I think that detail of what I was wearing made you be like, okay, it's actually not happening tonight. So I literally run out. I get the suit, get the camera, get the ring, get the shoes, get everything, and I make it out. And I'm like, holy shit. I didn't get caught. That would have been the biggest way that like the whole engagement would have been like, she would have found out that it was happening if she saw me walking out with a suit and a camera. So I get out. We were on the 19th floor at the time. So I get out of the elevator on the first floor, and all I hear the second the doors open is, he just got shot. He just got shot. And I was like, if there's an active shooter in my building, I don't give a fuck. I'm walking out. I will grab his gun and set it down, and I will just keep walking because I don't have time for this shit. I've planned so much. Like, it's happening. And then I'm like, why are they screaming? He just got shot. Like, who got shot at this fucking building? I know we in Chicago, but like this is not normal. I look at the TV and everyone's hurtled around, and this is the day that Trump got shot in the fucking ear.
Wait, so was this on like the first floor of the apartment complex, like all the way by the back?
No,
or
like,
like
on the front, so like the third floor.
And there was a TV there that everyone was just like huddled around?
You know where the little thing is with the salt on the table where you like scoot them?
Yeah.
Everyone was in, like 15 people.
Oh.
Like 15 people.
So you would just leave the elevator and you're like, he got shot. And then you just see people running into a room to like look. So you run into the room?
Well, I'm like,
What if there was an active shooter in that room?
I would have got smoked. I don't know. So I'm like, what the fuck is? And I still had to wait for Carson too. He wasn't exactly there yet, but I was like, this is
Yeah.
my moment to leave. I gotta leave. I literally hung out there for like 15 minutes, and I told the people in there the whole story of how like I'm freaked out by this because I'm literally about to propose, and I like literally showed them the ring. This one girl was drinking White Claw. She's like, show me that damn ring.
Oh my god.
It was so funny.
So people were happy for you. They
Oh
were
yeah, they were
excited.
so happy. They were really nice people.
Aw.
Carson gets there, picks me up, literally exactly as Karina, and then we're pulling up. I'm like, Karina, Carla, like, I might have to text you here and there. Like, make sure Michelle does not see your phone because that will blow it too. We get to the venue. It's literally, I think it's literally that building. It's either that building or that building. But anyway, like very similar view to like what we have right now. I get there, my whole family and Michelle's whole family is there. Your dad is so nervous. My dad's drinking. He's got a bottle of vodka. He starts making your dad drinks. Your dad gets drunk in like 0.3 seconds because he's nervous. I was so nervous. I had to hurry up and change. And then all of your sisters were like making like flowers and putting them in vases and adding lights to them.
Too.
Yeah, and your cousins too. And then we got it set up in like a little like walkway. And then the plan was you were gonna go to your like tea party, and then prior to that, like Carla or Karina, like your friends that were in the Uber with you, were gonna be like, oh, let's stop here for a second and take a photo. Like I know the guy who's like a manager at this hotel. Like there's a really cool like skyline view. And that's basically what happened. So. And not to mention, like, right before you got there, the wind picked up so hard and was knocking over all the flower vases. So me and Carson were sprinting and, like, filling up more water in the sink to make sure it wouldn't get knocked over. But then you got there. Both of our families, there's, like, 20 people. We're, like, a floor below or two. And then you came out, and it was perfect. Like, you saw me. Carla's in the background filming in her phone, bawling her eyes out immediately. I got down on one knee, I proposed, and it was perfect. We got videos, we got pictures, we got drone footage. And then literally right as we got done talking to each other and we were like just looking at the skyline, we turn around and there's like 30 people from our family all there. And then we all like hugged and talked and stuff. And it was awesome. It went perfect.
Yeah, such a fun day.
Yeah.
That was such a good story. We made the podcast titled Updates because we really just wanted to talk about the proposal, to be honest. That's it. We're done now. No, just kidding. Yeah, for me, like my version of that day, really stressed out. I got really stressed out when like Carla called me and was like, hey, I want to do this like tea party. It's an all-white tea party. I'm going to invite a bunch of girls. Like, it's going to be really fun and it's going to be on this day. And I was like, oh my God, that's so fun. I definitely want to do that. Because one thing about me is I'll go to a tea party and I'm gonna look good and I'm going to make content. And like, if you look at my like TikTok, like, and my Instagram at the time, I was making a lot of like lifestyle content. So I was like, this is so girly. This is so us. I'm so excited. And then I think like a week later, I realized that I had actually told my sisters and cousins like 6 months earlier that we were gonna go to this concert. We bought the tickets. It was like a pretty big like Mexican artist that we like knew from childhood. Like there's a lot of like monumental just like love for that person. I just wanted to go to the concert so bad. I also wanted to go to my proposal if that's what it was. I was like picking up like all white girl. And I didn't know. Like I was like, if it's not a proposal, then I just ditched my family. And if it is a proposal, then I just ditched my proposal. And it was so difficult for me to make that decision because I was like, if this is my proposal, then everyone has to be in on it. And like, it's going to have to work around the concert. But if it's not, then I would have just ditched my sisters. And I would have felt really bad for going to this all white tea party if it was all white, just a tea party. So anyways, they tell me to get ready and they're like, yeah, we're all going to get ready together. So I don't do my makeup. They're starting to drag. I just end up going and like starting to do my makeup. And then they show up already makeup done and everything. And I was like, your guys' makeup is done. You guys should have like texted me so I could do my own makeup too. Because now you guys are just staring at me doing my makeup. And it was really fun. We like hung out, we got ready, we got in the Uber. Carla forgot her camera, so she was like, "Can you guys run up and get it?" So like me and Karina literally ran up and got her camera because we like to take photos. And I think she was just really nervous, and so it was kind of awkward, honestly. Like we were talking, but like I wasn't really talking that much because I was like, "What's going on? Is it happening? Is it not happening?" Also, the day before, I literally went to the store and like shopped for like a brand new white dress just in case, because I didn't like any of my white dresses, and I found the perfect white dress. It like flowed so effortlessly. I looked so fire in it. I also I had a hair appointment like literally the day before. I was like, if it is or if it's not, regardless, I'm gonna have my hair done just in case. I got it glazed. Perfect blowout. Oh my God, it looks so good. The photos look fire now too, looking back. And so it was a great experience. It was awesome having our families there. It was awesome celebrating with everyone that night. And that is the story of how we got engaged. It happened in July. It's a long story, but honestly, you guys should know the story because it was pretty awesome.
The fact that that happened amongst so many other things in the past 4 months, like if we gave an entire full 4 month update of what happened, it would be like a 7 hour podcast.
It would literally have to be like a 7 hour podcast. Yeah.
Because I was just thinking of the moves and like going to Colombia and like moving apartments and like leaving the last one and that, and I'm like, the engagement, like this. Like,
don't even forget that 1 week later we went to New York on a business trip with WAP.
My gosh, yeah. So there's this like payment.
But we'll do this one pretty fast, and then we'll kind of move on here.
There was so we had a week until we were moving out of our apartment, and we didn't have a new lease ready. Our plan was to put all of our stuff in a storage unit, go to Colombia for a month, and then like work while we're there, obviously. And then if we liked it, we were going to go to Mexico for a month and then Argentina for a month afterwards. So we're like, we need to start putting our stuff in storage units. Like we got to get ready to like travel the world for a bit. And then this payment processing company called WAP was like, hey, we really want to work with you guys. Like, I think there's a lot that we could do together. Like, your business could play sales reps for all the people that use WAP, and you guys could also use WAP to process payments. Like, we should have the conversation. And I was like, sweet. Like, I would love to. I can't go to New York right now. Like, we're going to be traveling for like 3 months. Like, maybe in 3 months we could chat. And he's like, nah. He's like, I'll pay for your flight. I'll pay for your hotel. I'll pay for your meals if you want to. Like, how does Tuesday sound? Like, we'll buy you tickets right now. And I was like, I've never been to New York. So, like, that's kind of sick. I do want to do business with these people. And I was like, and this was, 2 months into us being business partners? And I'm like, I'm not doing this without Michelle. Like, they were only talking to me. And I was like, well, my business partner and fiance, and now fiance, which felt weird to say at the time because I'm like, I'm used to saying girlfriend. She needs to come too. And they're like, well, we're only doing one ticket. I'm like, well, then I'm not going. And they're like, all right, we'll do 2 tickets. And then I was like, hey, Michelle, I know we're about to go to Colombia for like a month, but do you want to go to New York for a couple of days? Everything's paid for. It could be fun. And then we ended up doing it.
Yeah. So it was crazy. I mean, it was really fun. But yeah, just imagine like 4th of July happening.
Oh my God, that too.
And then like literally right out. And then my grandpa had a birthday that was really fun. Remember, my grandpa had literally had a fun ass birthday with our whole family. So it was 4th of July, my grandpa's birthday. Garrett proposed. Next week, we go to New York. And then the next week after that, we literally moved all of our stuff into a storage unit. And then that literally right after that, what did we do? We went to your parents' house and hung out with them for like a week. Went to my parents, hung out with them for like a week. And then we all went to Colombia, which is now where we can talk about our fun Colombian trip that we were there for like a month. But yeah, a lot of hectic stuff leading up to that. What was the Colombian trip like? Well,
it was so cool.
Yeah.
Part of the reason why I personally wanted to go is I've been taking Spanish lessons for a bit.
Yeah.
And I wanted to put my skills to the test. And like Mexican Spanish and Colombian Spanish are 2 different things. There's like different slang. They speak a little bit more like proper. And they speak a lot faster and a lot quieter.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, let's see how I do. And I feel like I did pretty good. Like I could order food really well. I could order coffee really well. We started going to like the same spots and got that down pretty well. Bogota was the first week, which is the capital. That was like no work at all. We're just hanging out with the family.
And I got so sick.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't really have fun there because I was so sick the whole time.
Yeah, Bogota was not it. Like Bogota's cool, but when we went to Medellin, we were like,
Medellin,
oh,
Medellin,
this is Colombia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. Like it's basically like a bowl. Like there's mountains all around, and then at the bottom, like in the valley of all the mountains, is Medellin, and it's fucking beautiful. Like that drive in, there's a member of our team right now that's in Medellin, and he's like, dude, that drive in. I'm like, I will never forget the drive in Medellin. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it was so, so awesome. It's kind of like a rainforest. Like, oh my God, it was so nice. It was so peaceful. There was one day that we went, I think this was honestly like the first time in a long time that we had done this, like just no phones for like hours. And so Garrett and I actually went on this, what is it called? Like it's not
whitewater rafting.
Yeah, we went whitewater rafting, and it was like a whole day thing. So we went with a whole group. They drove us over there. I think the drive was like 1 hour or 2 hours.
3.
Oh, it was.
It was out there in the middle of the jungle.
Okay. So it was 3 hours into the jungle with all these strangers, and it was so fun. And then we started at the top of this hill and basically water rafted through like literally waterfalls to the bottom of the hill. And how long was the actual water rafting? Do you remember? Had to have been like 2 hours.
It was like most of the day. And
Yeah.
like just picture a whole jungle. No one's phones are working. No one has phones.
Yeah.
You can hear howler monkeys up in the trees all
Yeah,
over
you could
the
literally
place.
hear monkeys everywhere.
Yeah. And it rained really hard the night before. It's a rainforest. So the water was like 10 feet higher than it normally was, and it went down a little bit. But the water went so much faster than it normally does because the water levels were so high.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, I went whitewater rafting in like Tennessee and like the Smoky Mountains before with like my family. Like my little brother at the time was like 8, and it was like a very casual time. So I'm like, oh, Michelle, like it's real casual, like it's nothing too crazy. She's never been whitewater rafting before. I feel like it's definitely like a white people activity.
In Colombia.
Whitewater rafting. But in Colombia, that shit is an Olympic sport. You want to talk about like how intense it was?
It was so intense. Like the water was just like flowing and flowing and flowing. And like we were the youngest people in the group too. And so the freaking oldest people were like, nah, y'all can take the front. And they were like making us paddle. But it was fun. I mean, we went down some water, like what are they called? Waterfalls.
Yeah.
Like nose dived in. They were like, most people fall here. So if you fall, just hold your breath. And when you get out of the waterfall, we'll just get you back on. But it was really fun. I think it was honestly the first time in a long time that we've just like not had our phones.
Yeah.
For like hours and hours and hours, and it really allowed us to be present, listen to nature, talk to each other, talk to other people, make those memories. And I would probably say that's like one of my favorite memories from being in Colombia. Mm-hmm. And since then we've been doing more of that too, just in different ways. Yeah. But overall, Colombia was really fun. It also was the first time I feel like that the business got kind of tested in like a really stressful way of like really being like overly bloated and trying to like not have a home base at the exact same time was difficult. So we made the decision towards the end of August when we were in Colombia to start working with Ravi Abubala and join Scaled Initiatives, which Garrett can kind of talk to you guys about.
Yeah, totally. I think.
Wait, do you want to talk about like how leading up like the decision that we had to make and like remember when we pressed pay and like we did a whole prayer, like all that stuff?
Yeah, literally. We just got to a point where like the business was growing. Like we honestly had like one of our biggest revenue months ever. But we just had a bunch of expenses. Like we were paying the team almost $60,000 a month with everything involved, and we're like, this is just too much. And like we don't know exactly what our next move needs to be, but like something just like has to change. And I had the initial sales call with Ravi's team, and I really wanted to do it, but it was like $36,000, like $40K, depending upon like how you paid and stuff. So it was a big decision. And ultimately, Michelle and I like literally prayed about it.
I think we held off for like months and months and months because we were like, oh, bad timing.
Yeah, but ultimately we're like independent of the timing. Like we just need to do it. Like I hadn't invested in like coaching or a mastermind or whatever in like a really long time. And we were at the same revenue level for like a few months, like almost 6 months. So we're like, it's time. Like we also just wanted to go to more in-person events, and we were like actively looking for some in-person event to join. And then this was just the right timing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we were both like so excited when we finally made that decision.
Yeah.
We knew like this is the next level. Like we're
Yeah.
getting all these like well, we're just getting like knocks at the door, and to get to the next stage, we need support, we need help, we need mentorship. We need to be around other like-minded people that are doing about similar revenue numbers, that have similar profit goals or similar brand goals, you know, stuff like that. And so yeah, we joined it. It's been really fun. Basically, like what they do is they help you scale your business. So they help you with systems. They help you with your branding. They help you with your sales team. They help you with your ads. They help you with your show rate. They help you understand your metrics. They help you basically make decisions faster.
Yeah.
They have like live coaching calls. They have a lot of like pre-recorded content that you can use and leverage. Mm-hmm. You can also bring your team in on stuff as well and like have them sit in on calls. Mm-hmm. They also have a few like in-person events as well, a few times a year. So that was probably the biggest thing that we did out while in Colombia. And so I think because we made that decision in August to just like go all in, we really wanted to make sure that we could focus for like the next few months.
Totally.
Which is I think why we basically opted out of that decision to continue traveling, which is what we posted on Instagram. Like, we're going to be traveling for a few months. That was the decision maker of like, oh, we're not going to Mexico after this. Like, we need a home base.
Yeah, I think the business just needed us, and we're like, we don't want to tell our team like, we're locked in, we're focused, we just made this big investment, we're going to go to Mexico for a month. So we're like, the business just needs us. Let's just like lock in and focus. And the last apartment we were in Chicago was absolutely beautiful. But we were right next to like a highway, and we just
Three highways.
Yeah, 3 highways, a train track. It was just like a little overstimulating, and like the view was beautiful, but we're like, we think we might just be ready for it's funny saying now. We think we're ready to be just like a tad outside of the city, just like 15 minutes or so, not in the heart of it, but still close to it, have way more space. So we ended up basically getting a townhouse that's like 2,000 square feet. It was like double the size.
Renting a townhouse, yeah.
Yeah, renting a townhouse. That was like almost double the size of our last place. But we toured it on FaceTime at a coffee shop in Colombia with one of our friends.
We were like, it's perfect. Our friend was like, you're not going to like it. We're like, we love it.
Dean, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry. You left that and you're like, dude, like, I don't think you should do it. We're like, I think we should do it. We're like, hey, I don't, maybe he doesn't know that we want like a lot of peace and quiet. Like, you know, maybe he just doesn't, he doesn't have clarity on like what we actually want.
Because we're literally coming from a high rise.
Yeah. Like this, but like this is our best apartment by a long shot. This place is beautiful. So I don't know how deep we want to go into that. We lived there for 2 months, and after 2 weeks, we're like, this ain't it. like
we were staring at each other, you guys. Like at this point, we had moved our stuff into a storage unit, left the country, came back, got a hiring company to like help us move our stuff into this townhouse, and then like I kid you not, like 1 week into it, we were like, something's off. 2 weeks into it, we're kind of staring at each other like something is really off. By like the 3rd week, we're like literally going insane. I felt like is what it felt like. It felt like so not us, so out of alignment of like who we are and like what makes us excited, what makes us fulfilled. We have one car, so it's like one of us was either locked in or we had to go everywhere together. Mm-hmm. The traffic to get into the city was literally an hour.
Biggest thing that if I would have checked, we would have not lived there. We looked at like, or I looked at least, I'll speak for myself, at like 9-10 p.m. for like the distance from being in the heart of the city and there. And it said like 13 minutes. And I'm like, oh, that's nothing. That's a light Uber ride, or maybe we just drive into the city, get parking. Didn't mention, like, when the 9-to-5ers are either going into the city or out of the city, it's about an hour, which is crazy. Like, I feel like Chicago traffic isn't that bad when you're like in the city. But when you're going into the city or leaving the city, that's when the traffic's bad.
Yeah.
And we missed that point. So
Yeah, like our friends would try and hang out with us like on a normal day, hey, it's Tuesday night. Do you want to go do something in 30 minutes? It's going to be an hour to get there. If one of us is not going and we don't want to drive, it's going to be a $50 Uber. And it was just this whole thing. Honestly, it just felt not in alignment with us, where we're headed, and the stage of life that we're in. I think we just moved a little bit too fast of like what we thought we wanted because we just got engaged, all this stuff. And um, and so it was a lot. I think those 2 months. I mean, the month in Colombia felt like we were there for like 3 months, and then like living in that townhouse felt like we were there for like 3 months too. But I think all of that, even though like it was kind of stressful, I think we'll talk about it in the future, like the stress that came with it.
Sure.
I feel like we grew so much. Like I feel like because of that experience going to Colombia, we got a lot closer. We figured out how to make it work. We figured out how to deal with really stressful situations together. We prayed together. I feel like being in that townhouse allowed us to like really get to know each other on a deeper level and figure out how to support each other when we're both stressed out, and also how to be honest with ourselves. I would say I got closer to God. I think you did too.
Definitely.
I got a therapist. I would call her like a life coach, but like it's been amazing. Like I've been like growing so much. I've been learning so many amazing new things about myself. She was like, "It sounds like you really love the city and you're actually a city girl." She's like, "It
Yeah.
sounds like you love being able to go get coffee whenever you want, or go to a workout down the street, or like have a high rise and like look at the water." And I'm like,
Yeah.
that is so accurate. So it's been a great experience, even though it was stressful. Like I loved the growth that happened by like doing all of that.
Totally. Yeah, I think both getting closer to God, joining Scaling Initiative, and I think also just like because we got engaged, we're like the next natural step is to like live a slower life, get out of the city, get more space, like buy a house, do a wedding, like do the whole thing. And we're like, that's not even us though. That's what we feel like we should do, but that's not what we want to do at all. Cause yeah, like we barely saw our friends. We're 13 minutes away without traffic, but like,
Yeah.
if you've lived in a city, you get it. If you haven't, it just might be harder to understand. But yeah, really glad that we are back in the city. And I think one thing I do want to talk about is, there's so much to talk about. We could mention that we literally signed this lease before we even had a subleaser for our other place, because we tried to just buy our way out of the lease in our last place, but they said no. So we had to find a subleaser, and we didn't have a subleaser yet, and we just still signed this lease.
We had to like really like we like sat on it and we're like, we need to get out. Like we're just so not happy.
Yeah.
So it took a lot of faith.
Yeah.
To leave a lease, to sign a lease when you still have another lease. That's 2 leases.
Yeah, I was like paying 2 rents at the same time, but I prayed about it and I'm like, we're just not happy here. It's not it. We need to be closer to friends. We need to be in the city. It's good for the business to be in the city. We can network with different business owners and play sales reps for them.
And we're also more fulfilled, and like
Yeah,
we
just
like
happier here.
we are a testament of high ticket sales, remote closing. Like we are literally living the result of doing it for the first time. And when we're not even living the life that like fulfills us and like excites us,
Yeah.
then it's like things are just not flowing the way that they normally would just naturally flow.
Yeah. So prayers got answered. Literally I think it was 8 days from like hiring a realtor to it getting filled. Literally got filled just Friday, so a couple days ago. Gave the dude the keys.
And we moved in Monday. So we moved in on a Monday, and the lease for our other place was like signed that same week for them to get the keys on that Friday. So there was only like a 4-day difference from like,
Yep.
Us moving out and them moving in, basically.
Yeah, which is friggin' awesome. And then between there, which I would love to talk about, is part of joining Scaling Initiative was getting what's called a VIP day with Ravi Avubalo, which is where basically Michelle and I flew to Miami, and we spent the entire day with him. He's made over $25 million in his business. They're an 8-figure business, and I went to his mastermind 5 years ago. He's just someone that I look up to. and I really wanted this, and I think we both really needed it. It's been the best part of the investment, I would say, for sure. I know you got the iPad over there, and we have some findings. Do we just want to talk about maybe like some of our takeaways from
Yeah.
the VIP day?
We have a lot of notes, but yes, we actually went to the VIP day. Do you want to explain like moving VIP day coming back? That was a crazy week.
Yeah, pretty wild stuff. So basically Tuesday morning, we're like, okay, we're moving. We got a U-Haul. We had someone else help us. Shout out John. And we're like, okay, this is going to take no time. We're just going to move all of our stuff there. Like all the essentials that we really need you here for will help. You know, if you could just move all the big stuff in, like, you know, couch, tables, the bed, dressers, like big stuff. And then we can get the rest. It shouldn't take no time. It took a lot of time. So we literally from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. basically were moving stuff. And we tried to work. We had like a 9 a.m. meeting and like a 5 p.m. meeting, which we should not have done.
Yeah, like we were like, this is all going to tie back into the VIP day with Robbie, where he gave us a bunch of advice, but we were trying to make everything work. We're like, yes, we are definitely going to move this week. Yeah. We're definitely going to have a guest speaker for Closing Bible this week. We're definitely still going to have our sales team meetings this week. We're definitely still going to fly to Miami this week and have the VIP day with Robbie. We're definitely going to unpack and like do the furniture here at our apartment. And we're definitely also going to give the keys to this leaser Friday morning and still have our team meeting. So it was a crazy week.
Yeah.
But I have the stuff with Robbie now if we want to get into it.
Yeah. So, yeah, extremely quick. Got done packing at 9 p.m. Got done packing at 9 p.m. And then we still had a U-Haul full of stuff that just we didn't really want it in this apartment. So there's a storage facility right, nearby. I don't want to dox our location, but storage unit nearby. The door was wide open, and like I was very conscious of like how tall a U-Haul truck is, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna drive this in, put all of our stuff in. We're almost done for the night. We have a flight in like 3-4 hours to Miami. We're gonna wake up at 3 a.m. for this. I'm like, we'll just throw all this stuff in, and then we're done for the night. I put the nose of the truck in. There's no motion sensors for this like door. And the thing drops down on us. The door breaks because it bends. Barely.
It just bent.
It just literally barely bent. Like it's just enough for the wheels to go off of the track, so like it couldn't go up or down. And then we were like, oh no! Like literally, it's 11 p.m. We still have to move all this stuff in. So we put our hazards on across the street and took things one by one up 5 floors to this damn storage unit. And I think we got done at like midnight?
Yeah.
Finally get done. We have to take the U-Haul truck like 30 minutes the other way and then drive 30 minutes back. We got some damn McDonald's because we were like, we just need some food. This is a lot. We get here at like 1 a.m.
We're just giving them the timestamps, babe.
All right. So we have to leave in like 2.5 hours for our damn flight. Michelle's like, I'm just going to do my hair. I'm not
the
even
type
sleeping.
of bitch. I'm the type of girl that books 4:30 a.m. flights. I am so sorry. I was like, hey, I know you're really tired and I don't want to be that person, but like when I booked this flight, I booked it for 4:30 a.m. So we actually have to leave at like 3 a.m.
Yeah. So I was like,
with wait, our bed frame wasn't even up. Like he slept on the couch because I was doing my hair because I was like, I want my hair to at least look good tomorrow for the VIP day.
And I was like, if I'm spending 7 hours with Ravi and we made this big investment, I'm at least taking a 2-hour nap. I need some sleep. So took a little nap, went to the airport, and then we had a 24-hour trip to Miami, which was the best thing ever. So we can maybe get into what we learned.
Yeah, and I know it sounds very hectic, you guys. I think through all of it, I want to just say hell yeah to us because we did a really great job at like not being so stressed out, not being like so jumpy about everything happening. Our team's still doing their work and like still getting the job done with a hectic week, which is honestly what I think about like the presidential campaign. Like they're just running around, flying around for like months on end. Okay, we're going to get into it now.
Yeah.
So,
and this might sound chaotic, but in the moment, we're like, yeah, like we got to go to Miami, so we're gonna fly there. Like we just moved,
Yeah,
so
it
we're
was
gonna
pretty
do
casual.
this.
We're
Like
just like, yeah, we're leaving on Wednesday.
reflecting on it, it sounds crazy, but I feel like we have very high stress tolerances,
At
and
this
like
point, yeah.
because of all the things that we've gone through,
Yeah.
and like this is just something that we can like handle.
Yeah. Yeah, not to mention that I got so sick, like literally the week before we moved out. You guys lost my voice, couldn't work for like
Okay,
3 days.
okay.
Okay.
What did we learn from Robbie?
Okay, it was crazy. It was
Lock
crazy.
in, partner.
Lock in. Let's lock in. So we're gonna start with content. We're gonna start with the two separate funnels. So the first thing is Garrett and I basically when I came on board in May, we kept a lot of the same funnel. So a lot of like the pre-call, like VSL before they even book a call, the form is the same, like the verbiage is the same, the emails still end with like at, by Garrett. The links are all the same. Everything is exactly the same. I just have the links on my page now as well. And so when we were talking to Robbie, we were like, we've been getting, a decent amount of girls actually coming in. I would say like 50% of girls now.
50-50 now.
Yeah, are like coming in. And we were like, but the craziest part is that we're still doing the same amount of revenue number. Like that hasn't like really gone up. It's still the same. It's just now divided. And so one of the tips that Robbie gave us was to basically have like what did he call it?
Like parallel funnels.
Yeah. Do you want to explain what a parallel funnel is?
Yeah, just essentially he was like, Garrett was the face of it prior to having Michelle in the company, but Michelle crushes it on organic social media. So like, don't break what's working and like try to rework everything that's literally working perfect. He's like, just have the same like, funnel where people can like go to the website, book a call, speak with our team, join Closing Bible. He's like, just make a whole duplicate one, but it's all about Michelle and Garrett's not in it at all. So that way people go to Michelle's page, they see Michelle, they go to Garrett's page, they see Garrett. So
yeah, so we're going to try that. And I'm really excited actually because I feel like there's so many people that maybe get all the way to like almost booking a call and then they don't see me in the video before and they're like, wait a second, she's just an affiliate, like what's going on here? So that is one thing that we are going to be trying is him having his whole separate, like his own brand with a funnel that's directly for your target audience and me having my own brand that is directly for my target audience. And then I think eventually we'll try and bring in like this like couple type of avatar because it did change our life as a couple. So
totally.
That was like the first thing that we kind of talked about. And then we talked about having a personal brand and how like your brand evolves, and things that might have felt in alignment a couple years ago when we were making content maybe doesn't feel in alignment now. And so yeah, I mean, do you want to talk about your experience? Do you want me to go first?
Go ahead.
Okay. So something that I was sharing with Ravi was I was like telling him, I feel like my content's different. I feel like it still does really well. I just feel like it's a little bit different in the sense of like more of what I'm posting now is business content, is sales content. And I kind of feel like I've lost some of my audience that just literally followed me for only like girly stuff, which I still want to be incorporating that into my content a lot more, honestly. But I was saying like I kind of felt guilty because my content's evolved. I'm different. I'm passionate about different things. I like making content about different things. And what he said was really powerful. He basically was just saying, you are going to evolve. And for people to expect you to not evolve is for people to expect you to not keep growing. And you are going to keep growing. And so it only makes sense that your content evolves with you. But as long as you feel passionate and like you're coming from a good place and like good intentions when you make content, then that's what matters and that's what counts. And I think one of the conversations that we were having around brand and content is for example, I made this video and it was talking about how, three things that held me back when I first got into high ticket sales was that I was a girl, I was in my early 20s, and I was Mexican. And like walking into this space, transparently, it was like all white dudes. Everywhere I looked was a successful white sales guy. And I just was like, I feel like if I talk about this on my social media that like I am Mexican. I am in my early 20s and I'm mid 20s now. And also like I'm a girl and I'm still successful. I feel like it's going to trigger people and being like, well, you're not understanding. You're not listening to like what I'm trying to say is that we're at a disadvantage. And so what he said was like, if you're coming at it from a place of like good intention, good heart, because you want to positively impact people, to like see life from a different angle because this has helped you with the transformation, then there's nothing wrong with that. And the right people will feel alignment with that, and the wrong people will not feel in alignment with that. And that's okay. Because if you don't stand for anything, then you don't stand for anything.
Yeah.
So that was probably like my biggest takeaway on like the branding side of things. What was yours?
Yeah, I think for me, not branding in particular. He did help a ton with that, but I feel like my biggest takeaway was like, all right, so in my really early days, like when I was like trying to hit my first,
Wait, are we talking about branding or are we moving on to like a different section?
pretty much is like my takeaway on like mindset stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like in my really early days, like, I mean, you met me we were like met each other during those days. Like I would write affirmations all
Me
over
too.
my walls. I was like, I'm going to save $20,000. I'm going to make $5,000 a month. I'm going to make $10,000 a month. And I'm going to become this person and do all these things. And like, I was really into like reading a bunch of like Think and Grow Rich and How to Win Friends and Influence People. And like, I would journal every morning and I was really into that stuff. And then basically everything I put on the dream boards, everything that I hope to achieve, like I achieved. And I'm like, well, like check off that box. I've now achieved, everything that I wanted to achieve. Like I don't have to do mindset anymore. Like it's all just about very tactical like skills.
Yeah.
Like make the conversion rate a little bit higher, increase close rate. Like that's it. Like all number stuff now. Like forget the mindset stuff. Like that's for people that, are earlier on in their journey. Is like a limiting belief that was wrong that I had. And Ravi, here he is with an 8-figure business, and he's talking about how he reads his life manifesto every morning about what he wants his life to look like in the next 5 years, and how he manifests frequently. And I was just like, oh, like you never get too big for a mindset. Like you never get like beyond or like too cool for like manifestation and prioritizing mindset and visualizing like things that you want in your life. And that was a limiting belief that I honestly had, and it just had the wrong belief on. And refocusing on that, I feel like just made me way happier. Like I think I had the belief that like if you want to grow the business, it's going to be hard and you have to grind 12-hour days and you have to make it really difficult
Yeah, me too.
in order for it to work. And one of the things that he mentioned that I loved was he was like basically adding constraints, which is like usually in business, constraints are bad. It's like makes it harder to win. But he was like, Garrett, like you're smart. Like obviously you're going to work hard. Like it's not like you're not going to get this figured out, but can you do it while also stop working at 5 p.m.? Can you also do it by still working out every day and having a clean diet? Can you also do it by going on frequent dates and being present with Michelle? And can you also do it with like whatever you want in your personal life and just life in general? Like, can you do it with all of those things? Because if you can, you're going to create a life that you actually love, and you're going to get more creative with your thinking on how you can actually make the business work with your personal life and with your personal goals, and not have your business consume your entire life to where maybe you're hitting your goals inside the business, but you don't love anything in your personal life. And I think that was huge for me, because I had the belief that like you have to work 12-hour days and work so hard to make it work, and it's just not true.
Yeah. No, I love that so much. I think I had the same belief. I was like, I feel like we have to work so hard. And it wasn't a belief that was serving us. So I really admired how he was just so on top of his personal development, his manifestation, his journaling, like all of that stuff. And I do remember how far doing that took us. And I think we paused because we got so logistical on like, what do we logistically need to do? I don't even know if that's the right word for it, but like, what do we need to do in the physical realm with the actual numbers of the business to grow it? And I think I neglected doing the personal development, doing the self-care, doing the girly stuff that I love doing, going to the workout classes, just feeling good about myself. And also, I think another big takeaway that I got is that we are rainmakers. Like we bring in new clients because people want to work with us. They want to get mentored by us. They want to join the Closing Bible community. And I was spending a lot of my time working on things that were not moving the needle forward. And I had a lot of like set meetings in my calendar every single week that honestly took up a decent amount of my time to where I couldn't do the things that were making me fulfilled and also moving the needle forward when it comes to bringing in new clients. So Robbie actually helped me kind of redo my whole calendar to where it feels really good. I have a lot more open time to work on the actual product. So making better content for our CB clients, finding guest speakers, improving the quality of the trainings. And now we're doing open mock rooms as well to like do more one-on-one setting type of stuff with our clients during those times. More content. Also, I know you've started to go live again more, the podcast coming back up. So I feel like it was just really freeing to hear him be like, just add constraints. Like if you can't you're not where you want to be and you're not even having a schedule that really fulfills you anyways, add the constraints and like watch it blossom. And personally, in my opinion, I mean, I know it's only been like a week or two since literally a week. But I feel a lot better. I feel a lot happier, like more fulfilled. I feel like I have clarity and like how can I have a life where the business continues to grow, but also we continue to live our lives personally as well. And a schedule that would allow for it to really blossom in the next, coming months. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the one big takeaway too was I think I'm naturally like a overly nice person almost to a fault, to where I put my own self on the back burner and I prioritize other people. And I think that's a trait that is beneficial. But I think some things that we're doing were almost like, and I absolutely love our team, but I was doing things that were better for our team than they were for the business. And I think having a big breakthrough that like if an employee messages me and they need something, I'm like, let me drop everything and do this right now for you. And like, basically there's a scale of things where it's like, there's a level of things that are urgent and a level of things that are important. And if you're doing something very important that's also urgent, but then someone messages me about something that's urgent, but it's not that important, it has to wait and it has to sit. And I have to protect my time and focus on what I'm doing that's the highest leverage and not prioritize an employee needing something really fast. When, to be frank, if it happens at 9 a.m. or it happens at 4 p.m., is it that big of a deal? It's really not. So I think understanding like to focus on the urgent and important stuff and the important but not urgent stuff and not the unimportant stuff that may or may not be urgent really help protect my time and also know like what's best for the business is best for our team. So that was a big takeaway too.
I agree. I think he just was like, you guys are kind of babying your team a little bit. And I was like, accurate AF. Accurate as fuck. So yes, that's been really awesome. The team, like since bringing all this information to the team, they're like, yeah, that's awesome. That makes so much sense. I think it also empowered the team to be like, they trust us. They know that we got the job done. They know that we can handle it. They know that we can do this. And I feel like that is really freeing for them as well, of like trusting each other, working together, answering each other's questions, looking for the solutions, and not being like, I'm going to wait for my manager to like say yes or no to my question before I move forward. And I think that's really going to help with like moving faster. And I think the common denominator of all of this with like fixing the schedule and then also putting the constraints and then also not responding to things right away, especially if they're not that important or they can wait, is it allows everyone to move at a faster speed. It allows me to move faster. It allows you to move faster. It allows our closers to move faster. It allows our, fulfillment team to move faster, operations to move faster. Like everyone can just move faster because we are all taking 100% ownership over what is in our actual control and the decisions that we honestly need to be making and not relying on someone else to say yes or no before moving forward with that decision. And just being like, hey, do it. And if you mess up, we will fix it. But you know our ethos. You know what we stand by. You've been here for a while. You make that decision and we will talk about what happens after once that decision was made. So feels really empowering.
Totally. Is that the pod?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. That was a...
long podcast.
Yeah, that is the past 4 months of our life. And honestly, that was just a couple snippets of it. There's so much more we could get into, but luckily.
There's a lot more that happened at the like honestly, we were with Robbie for hours and hours and hours. And like, there's so many notes. We only talked about 2 of probably like the thousands of things that we talked about. So if you guys want a full on like podcast on the nitty gritty, definitely just comment below, send us a DM on Instagram.
Totally. Yeah. So thank you for listening to our life update. I hope you guys got some value from it. I'm sure you guys were missing us. We've been gone for a bit. The podcast is back. The short forms are going to be back from this. You guys might be seeing snippets of this here and there. Comment below, like, what topics you want to hear. Like, there's a million things we could talk about, whether it's mindset, whether it's like tactical sales stuff, whether it's like, what is high ticket sales, like understanding the whole industry of high ticket sales, like why and how it changed both of our lives. Mindset, like it could business owner stuff, it could be whatever, relationship stuff. So you just let us know what you want to hear and we'll make it for you.
Cool. We'll see you guys later. Bye, everyone.